I'll be Josh. I can take it away. That's most of my name. I
have Joshy. Joshy. We just have to come up with a name that kind of rhymes. I have too many syllables in mind.
Joshery. Jollery.
It's close enough. Close enough.
Like a lottery. Okay, yeah, I'm done. We already got several picks and bans coming through, though. Immortals is on the blue side. It looks like they have done Orianna, Ziggs, and Camille. Very, very high priority picks right now. And then from the other side, we're looking at the same kind of deal. Senna, Xin Zhao, and Graves.
Okay, so Immortals, what is your answer? Because they, the word on the street is they are looking a lot better than what they put forth in the first major, but I need to see them click, and I need to see them put up a better performance, because it felt like going up against Tribe, they had a completely different style than what we saw them go up against in the first match of yesterday. So already showing off the Yasuo here, which may seem a little bit new, but when you think about Hoon and how they've been playing and what we saw in the first major, this is exactly what I thought we were going to get coming into the second major, where we have Hoon on a super good carry, which just completely pops off. And Yasuo, I think, is the perfect champion to do that.
And you've also got Charm now on the Rakan. Yesterday, we saw Charm when they played up against Grilled Cheese. So good. Play the Senna and then the Rakan in the second one. I think it was actually a Zy-Rakan matchup that we got for Immortals. So, that's not going to be the case because Varus, I commend Immortals for prioritizing Varus that highly because I think that he is good enough compared to all of the other ADCs at the moment. That piercing arrow is so overpowering that it's a really good one. But finally, it's about time today we see a Seraphine come through because she has also been so incredibly strong. And we're talking about Charms with Rakan and Charm. And you know what? You've got one right there in the Encore from Seraphine, and a massive one at that.
I think if this is a super cool strategy for Sentinels where you're putting a lot of weight on some of the other carries on your team, specifically, I think Sheesh, like we mentioned a little bit earlier ago, he has been the front runner, the youngest player on this team. Everybody else on Sentinels has previous esports experience playing in a number of other games, but Sheesh, a young 16-year-old jungler, and has been a really big part of their wins when we see them come through for Sentinels. And I think I was wondering if we were going to see this from Sentinels. They played the Nasus Senna in the qualifiers, and if there's one way to try to, negate some of the laning prowess that is lacking there, Sona and Seraphine are perfect to do that in the Dragon lane.
They are. You just have to do well enough with them. That's kind of the struggle. Is so Seraphine,
permanently shielding.
I guess
those.
Seraphine is. She's so easy to like lane with and get creep with and like force prio. Whether it is her first ability or her third ability there. Of course, it's Seraphine. I love her. You'd think I'd know all of them except for just Encore.
Got Encore. That's how you're getting it from me.
That's all that matters. So she has a lot of push, but the concern is can your ADC play? It's really positioning. Is the big difference between running an ADC in this lane or running AP style caster for this one. She's got a lot of damage. She has a lot of pressure. She's got a lot of crowd control. It's great. I love this champion, but if you catch yourself out of position, there's not a lot of escapability, or you might have to use your Encore as a means of escape, which is not necessarily something you want to do since it is so impactful in a team fight.
Especially with how small Wild Rift is, Seraphine, kind of like in her PC counterpart, it's all about, can you get the Gauss cannon online? Can you get the Encore to come on through and line up everybody and go? That's literally all it is, because it gets longer when it hits allies or enemies, so it's just slowly getting more and more strength as it hits the enemy. On the side of Immortals, I like their answer to this. They saw Seraphine and they see Lee Sin and Gragas. What is their answer? Well, now Corki is under a lot of duress when you look at Malphite, when you look at someone like the Olaf. Two champions are going to want to run at you, and then you have two different vehicles to try and get this last breath out of Yasuo with the Rakan and the Malphite. So I like what their composition has done. You have some very strong lanes that I think Olaf can try to utilize to activate the jungle a little bit more. And for Sentinels, this is just scaling. If we can get to 15-20 minutes at about somewhat even or not that far behind, this is going to look fantastic for them. But Sentinels, the biggest thing that we've been hampering away for them, not only is their consistency, but the laning phase. Their laning phase has not been on par, and in the majors, Charmer had already said it, as we get further into the tournament, the level of competition is only going to get higher, and laning phase becomes so much more important for these guys.
For sure. And, consistency, that is one of the most inconsistent or one of the most consistent inconsistencies I think that we've seen from a lot of these teams that don't quite have the cohesion that you know, teams like we're seeing from Tribe Gaming, from, you know, Immortals yesterday, from Cloud9. Just that constant progression for the cohesion, whereas for these guys it feels like they're progressing with themselves individually, which is great. But when you're looking at compositions, win conditions being such a huge part of Wild Rift in the early game, then yeah, that laning phase isn't going to like a bad laning phase isn't going to be an easy late game for you. You know, this, even though you're looking for the late game, you still have to prioritize this laning phase, and unless you find cohesive consistency within the team, that's going to be a real struggle.
Thankfully, you know what brings that together? You got the singing sisters. I guess one of them is mute, so I don't know how singing works very
That's
well.
true.
Sona just like teleports,
I mean,
or does like telepathy.
Yeah, but only but like, does Seraphine hear that? Because she literally says, "Only you can hear me, summoner." So like,
yeah. So is it like can multiple people hear Sona? Can she
I mean, she says, "Only you can hear me, summoner." Like, that sounds pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, no, but that might just be like, hey, more than likely I'm talking only to one person. Maybe Sona is like, you know, with Seraphine, she like, they like, what is it? They're basically like a broadband satellite where like she just empowers Sona to be able to speak to multiple different members. We're getting word from production about something. Heyo. Okay. So for Sentinels and Immortals, we do have a little bit of a pause coming through. We have to remake the lobby. One of the players is unable to connect. So yeah, that is the situation right now.
So I think I heard that we're going to take a quick break so that you guys don't have to listen to us ramble on. Is that correct?
About Sona Seraphine. Yes. Send it.
Okay, so we're going to take a really quick break. That way, when we come back, we'll be hopping right into the game. This is the draft that we're looking at. There was just a disconnect on entry of the game, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back here with Immortals versus Sentinels in the Wild Rift Summoner Series. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us through that quick break. Hopefully you guys had a chance to, you know, get some drinks, keep yourself hydrated. We are currently running draft. As soon as the game is ready to go, we're going to pop right into it so that you guys don't have any delay and, you know, don't have to, again, listen to us ramble on about really senseless things.
Speaking of, Sona Seraphine, still very strong.
Still very strong.
They have Lee Sin, which is not like a traditional like hyper carry jungle that can kind of get away with a lot, but I think it still works. I'm a little bit worried for Sentinel's damage profile.
Yeah,
it's almost non-existent because it's 4 people who are doing magic damage, and Lee Sin gonna have to try to carry a lot of that burden when it comes to physical damage.
Right.
But if anyone can hard carry, if anybody can put on the backpack, the Josh backpack, it's gonna be Sheesh. Sheesh can do it. Sheesh is our man. Do it.
Yeah, you've got Yikes on an Olaf though, and I've seen that, and it's pretty scary. You definitely say Yikes when you see that guy coming around for a gank, and then also Araki Zoro. You know, there's just so much. That's the thing with Immortals. There's so much consistency as of late, and so to be comparing it to Sentinels, which is a relatively inconsistent team, you know, you have the fear of, oh man, Goom is on Varus. You know, Charm is on Rakan. Like, Araki Zoro is on Malphite. You've got Yikes on Olaf, man. Who is on Yasuo? Like, I can say all of these things, and it's like, ooh, if you're up against any of these guys, that's pretty scary. So we'll have to see how Sentinels does as we get into the first game here. In the lower bracket, Immortals up against Sentinels. Both teams going down to Tribe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Wait, not Sentinels.
Not Sentinels. Not Sentinels. Right.
They did last time. They did last time. The first major, they got domed by Tribe, but so did a lot of other people. So, not much of a surprise there. But this is how I know nature is healing. Rocky Zoro is back on Malphite. You've got to carry in the mid lane here for Hoon. This is just, you know, everybody was stuck inside during the pandemic. There's a lot of stuff just going on. But now everything is healing. We're returning back to normalcy. By normalcy, I mean Rocky Zoro is just playing one of a kind, honestly.
Yep.
Malphite.
And a favorite too. Araki Zoro actually wasn't able to get this one for quite a while because it was a constant ban.
They didn't even play it yesterday. There was only one game where it was banned. They didn't even get to play it. They just said, yes. Hey, we're gonna play Akali and Camille.
Oh, well, that's right. And those, they have come up, you know, Akali has certainly come up into the meta here. Camille has been there, but certainly a favorite here, and it's going to work very, very well with this composition. You have the Unstoppable Force that will offer Hoon more opportunity to utilize the ultimate with the pop-up there. So, I mean, lots of great opportunities. And then Charm on top of it, because you've got Charm with the second ability that offers a pop-up as well. That's 3 members here alone. I mean, that's including the Yasuo, of course, that have a decent pop-up. It's not one of those things where you have a second or half second, a flash away from Yikes, though, as I try to talk about that. Almost a red buff going over. But that's, I mean, that's a lot of pop-ups, and they are long-lasting pop-ups. It's not a situation where you have a split second. No, you got plenty of time to be able to get in there.
Guys, you got to finish the actual, oh my God.
Nah, it's going to be Hoon. Ends up getting that one. But, you know, all right,
well,
you know, it's one. That's one each, you know. So it's not like they lost a scuttle. Exactly, right there. It's not like they are completely out. Sentinels got the top scuttle. Bottom scuttle went to Immortals. They tried to get both. Doesn't always go your way. But you know what? At least it's still 1 for 1.
Bring up ye old gold graph when we have a second observer.
He's not in this one.
No, yes, that is true. But bring up the gold graph so you can see. Because right now, I mean, it's not a lot of gold, but it's a ton of experience that's in the favor of Sheesh getting that 1 scuttle compared to simply just Hoon really just grabbing the scuttle at the last moment here. I was going to say we're about 2.5, 240 into the game, and I already do not miss Seraphine in the Dragon lane. I remember this champion being alongside champions like Varus, and it is so obnoxious. He just builds straight up damage, out heals you, out damages, out ranges you.
Oof.
Speaking of getting out damaged,
Yikes
tries to make an appearance in the Baron lane, to much of their own chagrin.
That's twice. That's twice the Yikes has shown up and had to run away, tail between his legs.
Maybe they try to go for the Sheesh. Can punish Araki Zoro.
Does look like it. The Unstoppable Force is going to come through and a flash forward as well. Very quick reaction time by Irakizoro.
I would hope so, man. This guy is so good on the Malphite. He's got a down pat. He's got the Not many people would say that Malphite has many impressive mechanics, but the few that he does, the few fans that he does have are definitely experts in being able to pull it off. You saw just how mechanically adept that was. Just flash ult, done. Just I'm out. And that's all you got to do. And he gets out. But that is a flash, and they can return to it. She's just getting a recall. We'll have to see what this is. As Rest just gets soloed.
That's
okay.
Oh, no way. The kill. Mizuku will barely stay alive on that one.
Guys, you're playing Seraphine. I don't know what to say. Like, you just got solo killed on Seraphine. It sucks. It's a really painful moment to sit there, but Sona has to make the move. You see right now, they want to just go for this Rift Tail. They already have the package. Being able to force out members of Immortals away from this as they start up the Dragon is a good start. I just think it was a little bit off-putting for Sentinels. If you know that that wave is going to crash into your turret, I think Sona actually has to help Rest push out the wave. Otherwise, this is going to dive Seraphine under the turret again. Goodbye.
Ragnarok is going to come out. She tries to throw out that third ability, but it's not going to help when there are 3 members on you. Goon wasn't even a part of that one. Decides to come down and help pressure the lane and try to get as much damage as possible on this lower turret at only 4:45 into the game. In the meantime, Sentinels has some pressure on the top side turret there.
Race.
It is.
Oh, it's
race for the first tower, and it will definitely be Sentinels. I mean, that was definitely a race, but it was Sentinels that got the first turret there.
They get a little bit of gold, and they're helping out MTS a lot, so that's great. MTS has definitely put in some gold, but Tank Gragas, how tanky can you really be? How much sustain can this champion put out as they invade into that top quadrant of the jungle? Look at the blue buff from Immortals. Right now, it is the top side versus the bottom side of the maps. Baron versus Dragon lanes. When you look at these two teams, Sentinels have obviously put a lot of priority onto the Baron lane here, and Dragon lane, same thing here for Immortals. The gold is going to be more efficient onto Goom, but when you're looking at Seraphine, at this point, even though she might lack a little bit of damage, you already have a ton of magic damage. You're really here for that encore.
Oh yeah, I'm always here for the encore. You got to stand up for that one. And in fact, Seraphine is always staying. I realized something too recently. I've been playing.
She's just permanently standing.
She's not just that. When she's moving on her platform, her hips are swaying side to side. Yes. And then when you stop moving, she completely stops moving. So it's like she's trying to impersonate someone walking, I feel.
She's actually just a mannequin.
But she's not actually walking.
She's a robot, that's why.
She is that, that makes more sense. She's actually connected. Her feet are connected to that platform. It's all one piece. But, I mean, Immortals, now we can see that Hoon has gone over, stealing the Krugs away from the Sentinels camp right there. Gonna actually head up towards the top side. So we've got a bit of a swap here with Irakizoro towards the bottom side. Just a little too much pressure right there. I think it was Sentinels who made the first move. Immortals who decide to respond to it the way they have.
Okay, Immortals, what are we doing? Same thing to Sentinels. We are grouping 3 people mid. Are they going to try and make this pincer maneuver for the scuttle? They miss out on their opportunity, so we're going to probably start to continue to see a little bit more out of this Sona Seraphine lane as we get a more even-sided objective. Right now, Immortals, they find themselves at a small gold lead, but for the time being, I mean, we're seeing it in this mid lane. They really can't push out if you're Immortals. It is just both of them spamming abilities. Minion Wave disappears without a blink. And I like this from Immortals, taking this time to start to get some vision onto the top side and maybe even look for something under the turret in its Baron lane.
There it is. Irakizoro is going to be the one that's jumped on here. Full health, though. So not necessarily the one you want to go in on right there for Sentinels. It is 3 members down bot. They're trying to pivot towards this dragon. And in the meantime, Immortals have 4 members here on to MTS, and oh my goodness, it will be enough. The piercing arrow is going to do it. Rift Herald's coming out on the bottom side, second tower down in favor of Sentinels. Okay, so this is an interesting window here for the side of Immortals. It's a Malphite. I don't really know if you have to invest both of your flash heal. I know, right? That was a lot. That was a lot, and I mean, Rest was still at half health. You've got surround sound available if you can get the the passive. Gosh, what is the passive on her?
It's a healing thing. She needs a shield for her to do it, but
Yeah, stage presence, I think, but the surround sound is that you know, that second ability that if you have stage presence on it, you know, it's a massive AoE heal. And either that or you just use stage presence instead on the beat drop, and then you get the lockdown so you can run away. You know, I don't think either summoner spell was necessarily needed there, let alone both.
So Seraphine is definitely one of the few champions in the game where I'm having a little bit of like dissociation between the names of abilities and like actual audio terms. I'm like trying to like think of beat drop and all this other stuff. We have a dragon spawning now for everybody at home. This is, I think, this is a cool spot, I think, for Sentinels, just because they traded. They gave up a kill. They did lose that Baron tier 1 turret, but they also got a lot onto the dragon side of the map. So right now, focusing on this dragon, watch for the engage. They're waiting for Yasuo to get into range and then use the unstoppable force from Malphite.
They're still aggroing that dragon, though. Nope. Looks like Sentinels kind of continuing to try to poke, and Immortals is totally fine with that. Like, go ahead, split yourself. Give us another opportunity. The package is going to be burned there from Michael Udall, and will be the second dragon. A beautiful quickness coming out of Charm is going to charm 3 different members. Sheesh barely getting out alive, but Hoon is going to find a separate kill right there. Beginnings is going to be the next target for them. Goom trying to find Gragas, but not going to go down. A beautiful split fight there, and Immortals find all the successes.
Do you see why everybody at home? Charm is so good at Rakan. We saw it in every one of the majors when they were performing on Cloud9. We get to see it here again. A huge grand entrance, and with the quickness, able to knock up multiple members. And while it was a split fight for Immortals, Sentinels feels like they kind of just threw everything, and it was a little bit like spaghetti, where they're just trying to see what sticks. Can the encore hit? Can they use the Sona ultimate to try to do something? None of it lands. Or none of it is much effectiveness in the fight. We saw it right there. They lose so much. 8,000 gold at 10 minutes. It's a little bit of a slower game just in terms of time and pacing from what we've seen not only today but last night. This just feels like Sentinels are already shut out so early on.
Yeah, it is pretty rough for them. I mean, we're at 10 minutes in. Again, we've seen bigger gold differentials, bigger gold leads before at less time. But this is the point in the game where, in particular Wild Rift, it feels like one team just kind of gets control of the map. And when you're able to dictate where the enemy has to respond, you're able to dictate how the fights really play out, unless you're out of position. And in the meantime, right there, looks like Vex is going to go down. No other members there to really force any recourse out of Immortals. They're just finding, again, multiple successful fights. Not a single kill yet in favor of Sentinels. Keep that in mind. If you're being vindictive in the dragon lane, I definitely know as soon as Sona dies there, I'm just in calms and I'm saying, see what I mean? I just dealt with this for the whole game. This is what I'm going through, okay? Now, I don't want to hear any crying from beginnings here, but yeah, this is a rough one. They have such a scaling composition, but the early game just got completely blown open. A 2-man knockup. Oh, Charm, is he out? 2-man knockup. It will be the encore to come through. The Chains of Corruption don't land, but Rest is locked down for so long. The piercing arrow will find the kill. Yikes tries to go in there, but no unstoppable force. There is Iraqi Zoro. That's who we've been waiting for the unstoppable force. Is going to go through, but it hits absolutely no one. Iraqi Zoro just came in, you know, blew that round a little bit early and has to walk away. Especially in, I think it's just she's getting run down by Olaf, even through exhaust, by the way. And Beggs has to flash away. It's now 3 members, though. And actually, Yikes, who has to flash out of that one. Yasuo going to find yet another kill. This is why we don't let Hoon onto this type of champion, all right? You don't let... There's just so many things wrong. You've got Iraqi Zoro on their main champion. You've got Charm on arguably their best performing champion as well. And Hoon able to just follow this up and be able to pick up all of the resources. This game is over. I mean, you have 11,000 gold. There's almost as much gold as there is time in the game in favor of Immortals. They've got the Corki package, but Dragon coming up in 45 seconds. I just think this is a shutout. Even if Sentinels are able to get this, I don't think that Immortals are going to let them get it without, you know, it being a Pyrrhic victory for Sentinels. It will lose so much on the back end. Yeah, and you know, as I mentioned before, we're at 13 minutes. You're kind of at the point where Immortals has realized we can dictate this, and Sentinels has realized, all right, we have to play reactively here, but with the composition they have, it is not easy to play reactively when you have Yikes on the Olaf, who's able to Ragnarok out of everything, when you've got Charm, who's going to be able to Grand Entrance in and quickness everybody up, when you've got Hoon, who's going to be able to, you know, come through, throw up a wind wall if necessary, and utilize the last breath as well from any of these 3 abilities that they have to take advantage of that with. So it's not just map control, it's gotten to the point where Immortals also have really just control of all of these fights and have found supremacy in this game.
And the big thing is, for Sentinels, if they want to try and find any avenue back into this game, they need to keep track of Charm. Don't care about anybody else. Maybe a Rocky Zoro as your secondary, but they need to find where Charm is and prevent the engage from coming in. If they can stifle that, if they can stop him from finding amazing grand entrances with the quickness, then I think Sentinels have some leg room to try and find something. But I mean, Immortals, they're going to get their 3rd Drake of the game. And look at this. Charm is on the flank, is sitting behind some of these wards. A Rocky Zoro pulling him in.
And not going to be able to even
Look
use
at that.
those, but there it comes out of the very, very end. A nice encore, but the piercing arrow along with this Yasuo with this last breath. It's just too much damage. They managed to take down. No, Rocky Zoro stays alive. That is a clean ace, and we're going to make Hoon godlike while they engage onto the Baron. Immortals, a victorious fight.
Immortals, they're going to pick up Baron. They're going to push in the mid lane. All of these are formalities at this point for them. Sentinels, they're going to fall. And this is what we had mentioned on the desk when we were in between these games talking about Immortals and Sentinels, is that the bot lane, the Dragon duo lane for Sentinels, has always been a pain point for them. And if they could maybe shore that up, if they had spent this time being able to get themselves in line, maybe this would have been a little bit closer. But the fact that they weren't able to be as lane dominant and almost not even close out this game. Come on, Immortals.
Come on, that's grief. You absolutely,
come on.
100,000% could have ended that. You can see Yikes is disappointed in his team, as I am, because that was totally a win. That was totally a win. There's no point to tease.
We should be talking about game 2 right now, guys. Come on, Immortals. I know you want some airtime, but they haven't been able to keep track of Charm. They just lost Charm because of what happened in the laning phase, where we saw Rest get solo killed. And it just means that from here on out, Charm has complete control of the map, can continue their vision supremacy. And Rakan is just the most important member right now. Rocky Zoro, we saw that last fight, was able to live for so long, but it is 14-0. Like, this is just end the game, Immortals. Come on.
They absolutely could have. That's where I'm disappointed. You know, it's one thing if it's like, all right, you guys can push, you know, if they're doing side lanes, if they're splitting pressure and stuff like that. But to be at the Nexus and to get it down that low and then just walk away with 3 members, I mean, you could see it on
They could have won without Baron as well.
What?
The 2 members, if all 5 of them had just gone mid instead of doing Baron split, it would have been fine. But they want their cake and eating it too right now. Maybe they try to find Yikes, but oh wow,
out
ultra wide on that.
Encore. Really ultra wide. You know what? I mean, why would you use an encore on Yikes anyway? He's got a Ragnarok, man. That's going to be a great unstoppable force, and that pop-up is going to allow for a beautiful last breath as all of Sentinels just gets manhandled here. A piercing arrow trying to finish things off, but no, the Nexus will go down first, and Immortals will find victory in round number 1.
So, remember when we were on the desk and we're talking about peak Sentinels? Right now, Immortals, they don't even have to play anywhere close to that level. We can see right here, it is 17-0. If you would have told me no nameplates on, I would have thought this was a qualifier game from the first qualifier in either of the circuits. We had speed runs on those, and this time around, it is no different. 17-0, nobody dying, gold leads in every single one of the lanes as usual, but I think the comp from Sentinels just feels a little misguided. Lee Sin can't have those huge carry performances, and the bot lane is great. I love that you're trying to use the Staff of Flowing Water, which gives a lot of ability power and ability haste, which is nice, but I think you just need either members who can actually utilize it, maybe an AP jungle, but there's not many of those lying around, or maybe we just try to put like a Xin Zhao or something. That'd be pretty cool. You see the gold lead on your screen, but I mean, you saw it throughout the game. It was not even fair. It's basically like Immortals playing against themselves.
Yes, that. Man, that's a rough way to put it. But yeah, towards the start, all right, it didn't feel like that. Like in the first couple of minutes, you had Sentinels, at least, the first tower went over to Sentinels. They had a lot of, at least a lot of responses to what Immortals was trying to get pressure through. As soon as we got to it wasn't even 10 minutes, it was probably 8 minutes when that gold lead started really going up. It felt like Sentinels got thrown off their mental. They went from playing and reacting well to saying, oh no, we're only reacting right now in our play style. And it really threw them off kilter. The communication, the cohesion started to move downhill. And at that point, Immortals recognizes it and says, oh, yeah, we have this game. This is absolutely our game, and we get to determine where the fights begin and where this game ends.
Charlie, I'm getting a little sad right now because I think we're just gonna get perma 2-0s every single series. I wanted longer series. We were saying the level of the competition should get higher, but where are they at? Where's the level? I think it's all sitting in the grand finals. Tribe took all the good teams. Well, maybe enemies as well, but we're just seeing stomps. We're seeing one-sided stomps. It's not even a lot of the 2-1s. If we look back at them, it's enemy versus Brawl Star Pros. And then they were all in the lower round 1, which we didn't even get to stream yesterday. So
I know
Sentinels were struggling against Brawl Star Pros, and that gives me a lot of signs of worry for them. So Sentinels, they're going to need a lot more than just a second win. They're going to need a full-on everybody come to Michael Udall's house, play on the Google Fiber internet, lead meditation with the homies, something. They need a Dragon Ball wish to come on through for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now is the time to sing your praises in the House of Sentinels. If you can find a relic nearby, then now's the time to go give your offering, sacrifice a goat, whatever it is you want to do here for Sentinels.
No, not the goats.
Whatever it is you want to do here for Sentinels to try to give them a little bit of energy, give them a mental buff. I feel like that's what they need because they started that game out really well. And I could see, I mean, it was visible, the falter that occurred as soon as Immortals really, really started hitting the ground. So I want to see just a little bit more defense, Immortals, in terms of how your mental plays out. You guys absolutely have it. You have the potential. This team has shown up so many times in the past that they just need to get that confidence back.
I like Sona Seraphine. I think maybe Rest was, like I said on the cast, just put in a really difficult spot where you have a wave that's coming into you as Seraphine, and I think Rest also kind of just positioned a little bit awkwardly, where we saw, I mean, the 2v2, the 2v1 there coming out from Immortals Dragon Lane was superb. I want to give a lot of props to Goom, because we've been talking about Charm the entire game basically, but that is just a fundamental misunderstanding of what to do in the Dragon Lane coming out from Rest and Beg. Beg wanted to roam, and that's great. You can help out Sheesh, you can get priority onto the Scuttle, try to fight for the Rift Tail. That's great. Thumbs up to that one. But you need to make sure that your Dragon Lane is either standing behind the turret, because now you're Seraphine, who's not gonna be able to do anything, or push the wave out, and now both of you can recall, both of you can look for something onto the map. The timing was just not there. It puts both of them now in really awkward spots where Sona's like, okay guys, we really got to get something because I'm away from my laner right now, and I'm playing support, but can't really do anything much past that. You didn't get anything either way for the side of Sentinels. I like this bottom pair just because their bot lane has been a point of weakness for them. The rest of the map needs to do something as well. Everybody is culpable in this one.
Yeah, it's a team game, right? It's a team effort. It's that's what they say about a lot of games, but I gotta say in this one in particular, man, communication.
Except when I lose.
Confidence.
When I lose, it's not a team game. It was everybody else wasn't doing something. I couldn't.
But you were
win.
Okay.
I was the only person doing things. It's not a team game at that point. When I lose in solo queue, it feels like a 1v9 game.
Yeah, that's always unfortunate. But here we at least anticipate a little bit more teamwork, I would say, as opposed to your solo queue game.
Yes.
That's hope. That's the hope. And so, yeah, keeping the communication up and having confidence in the shot caller. I feel like there's so much more of that coming from Immortals than there is coming from Sentinels. And I don't know if they have as loud of a shot caller, if they have an individual, like one or two individual shot callers, because having confidence behind one or two players to make those calls and to really know that your team is going to follow up on them is a really, really big part of, getting into the mind game aspect of League of Legends. But looking at the bans, it's going to be Rakan, Graves, and Gragas. That Rakan is not coming through. Senna, Varus, and Xin Zhao from Immortals really banning out what works for them.
Wow. Okay. Wait, hold up. Sentinels. Guys, Oriana's up. What are we doing? Michael Udall, your whole, the whole part of the first circuit, you were an Oriana one trick. You were the only person that had an incredibly high Oriana win rate before it was kind of the meta to start to pick these champions like we saw later on in the major. Where is this champion? Why are we not picking Ziggs? The laning phase can kind of get covered by Ziggs, but you still need a couple more items. You need some levels to really be that disgusting wave clear machine that we know Ziggs to be. This could be a flex down into the Dragon lane, which I would like from Sentinels, but you gave over a lot, I think, more than what you got in this.
I love the Camille pickup, though. Immortals is like, hey, did they forget? Did they forget that Iraqi Zoro is like a god Camille? And apparently they did, because this is not a champion you want to allow this player to have. We were talking about the Malphite in the previous one. This is the second best, and they picked it specifically over the Malphite, even though Malphite's available. A little more situational. Camille as a first pick is amazing.
Very flexible and can be so fluid in the role that you want to be able to play. Similar to something like a Gragas, where can be that brawler, can also provide a lot of ability power damage coming out from the Baron lane. Whereas Camille, she could be a team fighter, she could be a split pusher, she could be an early game vehicle for aggression. And that's why I love her so much here in Wild Rift. And Immortals getting themselves a really nice combo, not only with that, but with the Nami, who can just enable so many different things. And when you're going up against a Lee Sin, is just a perfect counter-engaged champion to try to play with that title with.
Well, the funny part is it was Lee Sin picked into a Camille and a Nami, man. This is...
Oh!
Yeah, that's... I mean, I'm sure you saw this one. This one? Yeah. And yeah, okay, I like the Yasuo, but don't expect to be who, okay? That's my only concern, Michael Udall. Don't expect that you're going to be who right off the bat, because... rarely does a player pop off like that. And now you've got counter pick ability. That's the thing. Sentinels keeps just exposing themselves for counter picks. They prioritize these powerful picks, and I'm assuming that they think they're power picks for their solo players, but that doesn't matter. You are not going to win based on comfort picks for your team. You have to win by forming some sort of win condition in your composition, something, and then trying to get some counterplay in, because all the top tier teams have absolutely been doing, counter picks, and that's not the case for Sentinels at all.
Often imitated, never duplicated when you're looking at this Yasuo. And this is just a completely stylistic change coming out from Sentinels, where in the past, what we've seen from them is control mage in the mid lane. You have a tank or bruiser sitting in your Baron lane, and something of a typical Dragon lane duo in the marksman and with the regular support. And in the jungle, you have some type of carry. But a melee mid laner in Yasuo is so dangerous and is so different, where Michael Udall really hasn't shown a lot of Akali play. It has only been MTS. And then you're looking now, I mean, you're sending Ziggs now into the Dragon lane potentially. Is this Yasuo for MTS? Dragon lane or Baron lane Yasuo is some more dark tech that we haven't seen in a really long time in PC, but could be something that we see here from Sentinels. They have to answer into the Lucian. They're going to grab their support, give them a little bit more time, but one of these things has to be locked in as to where they're going.
I'm kind of surprised in the drop in Ashe priority. I mean, even just, gosh, really, really recently in all of these events that I've been doing and watching, Ashe has been pretty high priority. That Enchanted Crystal Arrow has been incredibly helpful, and then having the Hawk Shot as well to be able to get a bit of vision is really good. But this week, it looks like they're not going for the Ashe, and Sentinels lock it in with a Riven.
What? What?
Why did you guys pick blue side?
What? We got Riven? We got Riven, boys?
We got Riven.
Okay. I like Riven. So there's been 2 champions that have been played in the East, either in China or for Korea, that we haven't seen in North America all that much. It is Aurelia and it is Riven. Riven has been catching a little bit more steam than maybe Aurelia has here in the Wild Rift Summoner series, but seeing Aurelia here, it's an okay matchup into Camille. It can be very dangerous once she loses out on the hook shot. But I'm I'm just looking at Galio Camille. I'm looking at Galio Olaf. I'm seeing an incredibly strong bot lane that can try to match up against Ziggs Alistar. This should be in favor of Ziggs, but Lucian can be a lane bully with the Piercing Light and with Nami. So, this is dicey. This is a completely different look than anything we've seen from Sentinels. If they're able to pull this off, I think this is not only obviously keeping their tournament dreams alive in the major, but is so crucial going up against them in the future. If you're an opponent, you now have to think, can they really play a Riven in the Baron lane? Because MTS is good, but I don't know if he's that good yet.
And I think the bigger question at that point is not even so much, can Sentinels pull this off? Because we haven't seen it. Maybe it's something crazy. The other side is Immortals playing, I mean, not really comfort picks, but powerful picks that they always do well on, which I guess kind of comfort picks, but it doesn't feel like it because Immortals has a deep pool. So, yeah, you're like, oh, maybe this is something that could work. But then it's like, on the other side, we have something that we know has worked over and over and over again for Immortals. So it's really risky to go in with something like Sentinels of saying, hey, let's try this out. Yes, I definitely understand. And you're in the second game. You know what? This is your last opportunity really to continue on in this major, to continue on in fighting through this lower bracket. So let's try some spicy things. But I feel like that's a good choice for game number one. Once you get into game number two, you really need to lock down those consistencies, and I just don't see it from Sentinels. I still see it from Immortals though, and that doesn't play out well for Sentinels' future in my mind.
I mean, Immortals, like you're saying, don't really have to change up all that much. You have to force an adaptation out of the enemy team if you're on the losing side. You have to force them to change something up in their draft, whether it be banning away the Rakan like we see here, or giving them a little bit something else to work with. Now, Charm on Nami has been hit or miss, so we'll have to see. Will not have those insane flank engages that we saw in the first game. And Nami obviously operates a lot differently, doesn't have as much escapability as something like a Rakan. So we'll have to see what Charm can do. I think there is some unique tools, and this may be a situation where Sentinels can try to find something else. But I mean, I agree. They are trying literally everything. Usually you want to change one thing and keep everything else that worked. This time, they're just like, turn all the knobs.
Whole game.
Flip all the switch. Burn everything. Right. Go for it. Burn that hard drive.
It's like, last game they turned on autopilot, and this one it's like, let's flip all the switches and see if this works better.
If it
we're not going to tell anyone.
Wins.
No one can dictate how we run this one. We're going to do it our way. And you know what? Kudos to Sentinels. I'm just really worried that it's going to be a short game and it's not going to be good for Sentinels. That's where my fear comes through. That's where my concern comes through. But we won't talk about that because we're getting into the game match point here for Immortals, as this is a best of 3. Sentinels need to win this one to stay here in the lower bracket, try to fight out and break a tie after the fact. But I don't know, Alk. It's, we got Immortals here. It's Rakizoro on Camille. I just don't know if Sentinels realizes what they just did here in allowing Rakizoro to have this Camille.
Yeah, that'll be a really interesting. Oh, and I like this adaptation, trying to find a kill early on. Camille, she's dead.
That's an exhaust. That's
Ignite?
an exhaust, and an ignite down. The shield will come through. No way! Beg trying to follow that up with the flash. So that is 3 summoner spells out of Sentinels. Yes, you get both out of Rakizoro, but you don't get the kill.
I'll take it, though. I'll take it. This means that Riven right now gets early priority in the laning phase. You see right now, Rakizoro not able to get much. Hoon getting traded on early here in the lane. Alistar's level 1. Beginnings has really not gone much in terms of experience. Maybe stole a couple of minions from mid lane, but will just now be arriving. I like this level 1 plan, and it's so strong for them when you're looking at it. Immortals do come out to a small lead, though, because of what they've been able to do, specifically in the Dragon lane. But I like the thought of it. I like the idea of trying to set the game off at an early start at some kind of deficit for Immortals.
You gotta take what you can get.
Do something.
And early on is the best opportunity to try to get one of those cheesy plays, because if it doesn't work in your favor, you have to recover at that point. It's not like it's late game. It's not like there's already a big lead for Immortals. So Sentinels, I like the style. I like what they're trying to do. We'll see if it works out for them. It will be a scuttle trade here. Yikes picking up the bottom, and Hoon making his way down for a potential gank here. And yes, it certainly will be, as Charm and Yikes go behind this first tower. It's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of extra gold going into the pockets of Immortals here.
this is heartbreaking right now. They know Sentinels that they can't step up, especially with no summoners on the Alistar, can be a kind of a point of attack, and they're sending Michael Udall to try to answer this. Galio with no level 5, knock up land.
Oh!
Wind wall, man. Wind wall is huge there.
Yeah, the wind wall, but half of it was in front of the wind wall, and he was standing partially through the wind wall, so that bubble going through, Michael Udall not going to be able to pick that one up.
Rest just flashed. Why?
What?
Why did Rest just
I missed that.
Rest did like a flash forward with the satchel charge. They're trying to find an engage, but I mean, all this does is try to stall out the minion wave, and look at how low that turret in the Dragon Lane is. You already see Yikes is coming over. They want to cash in on some gold. They're going to send Hoon there. This is a dive.
3 right now versus the 2. Rest is going to use that satchel charge to bump forward. Goom manages to get that tower down before taking another shot. Immortal is going to take that as an absolute win. 3 minutes into the game, and they already get the first tower down.
It's 3 minutes. The dragon hasn't even spawned yet. The Rift Herald hasn't even spawned yet. What are they doing? Sentinels, you gave up so much early priority, and Immortals correctly punish it, but that is heartbreaking for them. They're so far behind now when it comes to the gold, and they're going to lack in that priority. That's what we want to see out coming from Ziggs, is you're constantly shoving, and now with Lost Chapter, maybe that can be the case, but I mean, mid lane is not going in your favor right now. We'll have to wait and see. There's only about 1,500 gold, but Sentinels need to find a miracle of a team fight here at the Dragon, or to have a pretty explosive fight on one of these objectives.
That's the trouble, is getting to the objectives. Trying to maintain positioning here. Already having this Dragon Lane tower down means now Immortals is like, all right, cool, we get to prioritize this mid and this Baron lane. We don't even need to focus on this Dragon Lane unless we're just trying to pressure it back out, and that's going to force Sentinels to send a member down to react to that accordingly. And so Immortals already recognizing that they've got quite a bit of control over the map. They're going to start on this Rift Herald. They'll be sent away, pushed out there.
Their whole combo.
Is a sonic wave that hits, but they're just waiting for the rest of the team to come through. As we can see Galio towards the top there, who
there it is.
Something that's going to be the explosion from Ziggs. Hoon going through Hero's entrance.
Yes.
Fresh. No, MTS is not going to be able to get out alive. A flash forward from Hoon before going down themselves there. So Sheesh will be the only one to fall, and successful fight for Sentinels for sure.
They did it. They found the winning fight. Let's go, Sentinels. They're able to at least show some signs of life in this one. Their entire combo is predicated on whether or not Michael Udall can find the last breath, because it is last breath into the Mega Inferno Bomb coming out from Rest, which makes it so easy for them to kind of just lay all this damage in. We got to see it finally there, executed perfectly for Sentinels. They'll grab the Rift Herald. They'll get a couple more kills in their back pocket. While it is not even... It is just about, especially with how much damage and turret plates they just got into the Baron lane, you have to imagine they're going to come back out onto this Rift. They're going to come back onto the Dragon. And it's going to be very painful for Immortals to deal with.
They're going to have to deal with it, though. That's definitely something that they have to respond and react to. They don't want to allow this this other objective to go over here, because Immortals does have the Rift Herald in their pockets. But with the gold and the
also here,
really
Michael.
staunching here from Sentinels, they need to make a proactive play here. Yikes trying to find something. There comes the bomb. Won't do quite as much damage as Sentinels were hoping here. The Dragon very, very low. He's going to get it. It will be a steal by Lee Sin right there. The culling comes out onto the backside. Out is the Hextech Ultimatum as well on the back deck. Getting very, very low. The taunt coming through, though, as it's Hoon who makes a big, big play. Camille as well for Iraqi Zoro. That means the MTS Amazing is the only member here that might go down as well, because Rest actually, never mind. Rest is going to use that satchel charge to get away, and it will be these 2 members that survive for Immortals, and less Yikes has anything to say about it.
Okay, well, they not only now get the Dragon stolen for them, which, you know, very sad, but the fact that they're trying to put damage down, you saw there that the Mega Inferno Bomb only really did damage to Charm, and that was just healed up with the Redemption. So not able to get all that much. It'll get to be able to stop the second charge. But I think Immortals come out huge in that play, and some fundamental misunderstandings yet again coming out from Sentinels as to how they want to play out this comp. It is all Michael Udall, the leader of the team, the founder of their old team that they were on previously for Sentinels. They need to kind of rally behind him, because this entire combo is find a last breath, and while they're being CC'd, you land all of your damage. You allow for MTS to kind of be a secondary carry in that sense. Charm, I don't know what you're doing here, but you got the flash out of yourself for that one, and you'll have to pay the price.
Yep. Charm flashes. There was none available for Bag. That was just a nice jump forward, a little headbutt pulverized attempt. Lucky Doll gonna find a whirlwind there, but that is 3 members trying to pressure onto the Sentinels Baron, first Baron tower. Got Sheesh in the wings though. Sheesh got Bag and Rest as well. A lot of time spent here just trying to find an initiation. Out comes the hero's entrance. There's the tidal wave. Sentinels have been standing here for a while, but they have done absolutely nothing, and now they're just going to have to recall. That was a lot of wasted time from the blue team.
Big thing here for Sentinels is they're not even farming waves at the same time, right? They're not putting multiple members in different lanes and then eventually moving over. They had Alistar and this Ziggs sitting in the blue side jungle for the longest time. And if they're able to grab this dragon, Immortals will have eventually slowly drained the resources away from them. Connect from Sheesh? What are you doing, buddy?
Ooh, the culling comes out, but it will be Yikes that picks up the kill there. The wind wall will at least prevent the damage from going on to Michael Udall, but there's no continuation of this fight. Even though Sentinels is going to try to do a little chase here, it's a lot of wasted time trying to set up for a fight. But if it's taking you this long and you're just losing more across the map, you got to stop the attempts.
They're just letting a lot of gold hit into MTS here for Sentinels, so it's good in that aspect. Sentinels are getting a lot of gold onto this Riven, but Riven needs to be able to show up. MTS has had a few carry performances, but because of the early game inconsistencies from Sentinels, has not able to transfer that into wins. The one that comes to mind is his performance on Akali in the last major. Had a great sense of skill, but here, maybe trying to find this onto a Rocky Zoro, that's just a solo.
Ooh, that is a solo. I was going to say the Hextech ultimatum came out, and then immediately we saw Rocky Zoro have to flash away after using the barrier. MTS didn't even flash on that one, didn't even use the ultimate, literally just used the ignite, but the ultimate is going to come out right now.
Okay, that's good. Again, MTS has done this before, but I need to see it turn into a win. That's the pulverize coming out from beginnings, most likely just trying to stop any kind of engage, but 10 seconds now before this dragon spawns. Sentinels are first on the play, but 3 of them are hitting the recall button. They are probably just going to try and give this up and look for something. Please, if you're going to play Ziggs, you need to be on top of this right now, and they can stop it. They have good damage from long range, but this Baron turret is so low, guys. Just someone knock it over, sneeze. Same thing with the health bars of the last game. So close. They need to be able to get this. I like using Ziggs to control choke points, but gotta go for this dragon now.
Trying to throw something over, get as much damage down as possible. They do have the bomb available from Ziggs that they can get a lot of damage down with, but it's going to be a reset here for this Drake. Egg looking for something, not going to find out. Has the phase rush activated. It's going to be Hextech ultimatum onto the backside. A beautiful headbutt right there onto Iraqi Zoro, but they're going to follow it up with a tidal wave and a bubble. Iraqi Zoro heavy on the backside, and that's going to be the last breath right there. The cooling on the other side. So much damage from MTS. Oh my goodness, beautifully played. Yikes is going to use the blast code over. It'll be a flash to follow it up, though, from MTS, who will find another one. And oh my gosh, that was all Immortals until MTS decided, I'm going to throw out my ultimate. Let's get the blade back together. And my goodness, that was beautiful.
Finally,
beautiful
Sentinels, MTS coming in with a clutch team fight. That is exactly what I wanted to see, and the strength of this Riven. You saw all 3 of the members there from Immortals clumped up and get immediately knocked up and down as soon as they were to bring down the broken wings. So Sentinels, with a massive team fight victory, find themselves back into this game. They've been focusing so much on putting Ziggs behind, on trying to kill Rest and trying to kill Beginnings. And Immortals were not able to execute right there. Galio does not have that same damage. And with so much terrain that they're playing around, specifically, I think Iraqi Zoro is having a struggle of a game this time around, is not able to get into that backline, blow up some of the other members, and really start to cause chaos using that Hextech ultimatum. So We'll have to see how they adapt. But right now, Sentinels are back in this game. They have 2 turrets. They have 2 dragons to their name. And the gold is evening up. And it's all on the backs of MTS here.
It really is. That's going to be the problem is, you know, if MTS doesn't continue to get the support from the team, and I think if Immortals starts to recognize that as well, that MTS is the reason that these fights are going in their favor, you cannot start a fight without knowing that where MTS is and without allowing Immortals to get the first jump onto MTS. So if they're able to do that, if they're able to set up a fight to start it off with pressuring MTS, that's great. But if Sentinels find another engage where MTS isn't a part of it, and they can really aggro the entirety of Immortals and then allow that Riven to just get back in with the Blade of Exile, they can continue to find successful fights. I have a feeling, though, that Immortals is going to very, very quickly. I feel like they already recognized, okay, we need to know where MTS is at all times. Otherwise, we are not fighting.
I can hope. One can hope that they will be able to do that. It is all down to execution here for Immortals, as they are constantly trying to shove in the mid lane. But now Ziggs has already finished that Ludens from before and will be finishing up the Leandri soon enough. Is going to become basically, I press one button, your entire minion wave goes away. And we've been seeing it time and time again with Rest on the Ziggs has been throwing out the Mega Inferno Bomb. It is a massive dissuader of a fight for Immortals. The thing is they need to be able to lock people down. We haven't seen too many Galio Camille combos. A lot of them have been knocked away thanks to beginning's Alistar. So if they can get that combo down, then it's great. But if they're chasing for too long, Sentinels can come in and completely wipe the fight.
That is definitely a struggle, and Iraqi Zoro hasn't been able to really, I mean, we've seen a lot of Hextech ultimatums come out. Not a lot of them have been successful, though. We even saw the one down in the bottom lane where it ended up being a 1v1 between, I think it was MTS and Iraqi Zoro, and Iraqi Zoro used absolutely everything, flashed, still didn't get out. So used the Hextech ultimatum and then literally immediately flashed out of it, just trying to keep MTS locked down. And that's not enough here. So Iraqi Zoro put to his wit's end. That's a great sign, but right there we can see MTS trying to take him down. The Hextech ultimatum did come out. It's a 2v1.
Oh my god,
Will it be enough damage? MTS is just too dang good. Breaking somebody else's wings, certainly not her own.
Oh man, Riven 1v9 carry. And the entire time that they're doing it, they pull so many members of IMT that they're able to grab the dragon. In the meantime, Hoon is here. They know they've got the ward. Cullen coming out, trying to put down some of the HP members, but this is so close. Baron.
It's a little bit early on that. It will be Sentinels picking that one up. In comes the heroes. Zentra's Doom has to flash over to the backside. MTS is there, but she has to flash away from Iraqi Zoro, who is quite low. Now has to back off of that fight. Sentinels, hey, they find something good. Michael Udall, the only one losing the Baron buff.
MTS said, I'm not going out of this tournament without a win. I am not finding myself at the end of going up against Immortals, going down 2-0. MTS is trying so hard to stay in this game, and his team is able to back him up this time around. The Baron is an amazing attempt. Immortals cannot answer. And I think after a shaky early game, they finally have found their footing in this one. Sentinels, I mean, now with the Baron, are most definitely in the lead, even if the gold doesn't reflect all that much.
15,600, like, that's so much gold from MTS. 7-0-1. Look at the items build. A finish, oh my goodness. I mean, and then you pick up, you've got a BF sword on top of already 4 completed items here, including some of that grievous wounds as well to prevent IMT from even staying in these fights. If they try to prevent Nami from getting some healing off of here, that would be really effective. So the longer this goes, the better it's looking for Sentinels. MTS still hasn't gone down. That's a juicy bounty, though.
Yes, that would be a lot of gold, and I think if MTS were to go down without a big investment from Immortals, it would basically spell doom for them, because MTS has almost as much gold as Rest and Beginnings have combined. Now, supports don't make a lot of income. That's pretty impressive with the lead that they have. This also means that MTS is not going to be getting that much stronger. Olaf going right in. They want to look for something.
Burning the Ragnarok, throwing out a few first abilities. It will be a tower on the dragon side that goes down. So that is the dragon side inhibitor exposed now. MTS feels good about that. Just going to recall. And now Sentinels has just decided, okay, we can pressure these side lanes. We can continue to find exposure into the enemy base, considering that 2 of these inhibitor towers are open. And they're going to make a move on to the Dragon, too. Nothing that Immortals can do on this one. I mean, Sentinels has absolutely taken over.
Yeah, they are, I mean, incredibly in the lead now. That was just a painful combo to watch. They try to find the connect onto Sheesh. Sheesh just kicks Camille out. And so that means now there's no Hextech ultimatum and there's no Hero's entrance. Thankfully, it should be up in time before this Baron spawns. But take a look at these items as they come in. Sheesh finishing up the Trinity Force. Most importantly, Iraqi Zoro finally has Guardian Angel. This has to be where Immortals can try to make their stand. Everywhere else is about even for every single player. But it is that Baron lane matchup. You have full items.
Full build.
MTS. Yep.
Full build MTS.
MTS is not getting any stronger at this point, except for maybe another Dragon or a Baron in their back pocket. They are at full build. They have maximum amount of experience. All of their abilities are maxed out. Can they make it come true? Can they carry this team to another win, continue on in the major here? It's a best of 3, so they'd have to find another one after that, but it's baby steps right now for Sentinels.
Absolutely, especially with how dominant that first game was for Immortals, taking down Sentinels. And then for us to be a little confused about this draft, a little bit lackluster in how confident we were, I regret it. I feel bad about how far ahead I was expecting Immortals to come through here with the composition that they've got. But Sentinels, I mean, you said it. If you're going to pull something crazy out, you know what? Might as well do it before we're out of the competition, right? Do it while we still have the chance, and they're making it work.
Sentinels must have the Philosopher's Stone, because they just turned the Sentinels copium from game 1 into hopium. I'm on the full train here. They can make the comeback. It's given a little bit of, I'm getting some vibes. That's a kill on Teres, huge. Dragonrock comes out. They want to start this Baron. Watch for teleports from the Baron laners.
Hero's entrance comes through. There's
gets
a
canceled.
Teleport as well to the bottom side, but it does get canceled out. It's going to be Goom, who does a lot of damage to be able to dash forward, though. And Michael Udall, you are not going to be able to survive this one. A stopwatch won't help. The Nami tidal wave comes through as well. Beg will be the next target, the next one to go down here. So Immortals find themselves 3 members. A lot of pressure, but can they take the Baron off of this?
That's so tragic. They also got double summoners out of both of the Baron laners. MTS gets the GA and almost knocks Iraqi Zoro down, but is able to get back into their base. That should be the mid lane turret going down, and they want to start up this Baron immediately. Sentinels have made a tragic misstep and could potentially send Immortals back into the lead on this one. They're going to get the second Baron of the game. Multiple members are coming. Sheesh and MTS, can they make the change? Can maybe there be a couple teleports as they buy the boot and chance? They're looking for a steal. They're looking for something here.
Hoon is the target for MTS, but that's a lot of damage. It's a revive as the GA is popped. Yikes and Charm get knocked up right there. Sheesh is going to stay alive, and MTS still does not go down. That's 2 GAs that have been popped. A beautiful little Nami bubble and the teleport on top of it. It's going to be a bit of a reset on that fight, and still the Baron is alive.
That
auto actually went through. The auto, he wound up.
God.
Not quick enough.
Oh, Charlie, this is so close right now. Sentinels, they have to be feeling the, I mean, at that point, I would call for a pause and be like, guys, I'm literally shaking right now. The fact that we're getting so close. Huddle. MTS, yeah, exactly. They might need a couple of Fnatic pauses to come on through. Riven no longer has Guardian Angels, just builds out on the Sorelda's Grudge. A little bit of a mismatch here. You have 2 armor penetration items, and it's not really all that useful. I mean, Mortal Reminder is an alright build. It gives you the Grievous Wound, which is the most important part. But the slow on Riven's abilities means she is just that much stickier to try to get away from. Do Sentinels try to make the trade, or do they try to focus for this Infernal Elder? They're going for it. Here we go.
Well, they're going for it. They're at least putting a lot down. It looks like they are trying to bait out a fight here, as only 1 member is really continuing the fight. That's going to be the tidal wave that comes out, the culling.
Oh, MTS.
Well, on to MTS, who's dealing a lot of damage, but taking a lot in return. Has to flash away from this one and
Michael
has to use
Udall.
the broken wings to get out. Beg might be the next one here. Down it goes. Yikes. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Immortals. The fight should end there.
MTS almost died there, had again 1 HP and is able to barely survive with some of the healing and some of the protection coming out from the other members here. from Sentinels. That just means we're waiting yet again. We're gonna have to come back to these battle lines, wait for certain members to respawn. It is 5 seconds in between the death timers of the Sentinels and Immortals. But oh my god, I mean, like, I think we'll have a little bit of time before the next fight, right? We're coming back out on the map. We're gonna come back onto some of these members. Jolly, we talked about this from game 1, but late game, 20 minutes. This is one of the first times we've been able to see it. And Sentinels need to be careful here. Rest.
It's going to be a Rakizoro jumps forward. Hextech ultimatum. Yes, the dragon kick does hit, but it will be Sheesh who gets attacked next. The culling comes out too. Sheesh has the ignite, but it won't be enough. In goes MTS on the fight. Fight the fight. And now comes Hero's entrance. A very, very low Rakizoro will be able to survive at just a sliver of health, and Immortals find themselves a couple more kills. Rakizoro will not be able to get out of this one. The Guardian Angel pop, but that allows Goom to go in onto MTS. That is another member down. MTS at almost no health, has to run away from this one. IMT still has a GA as well on Goom.
This is just Dragon for them. They can get the Elder Drake. They need to be able to screen Sheesh out of this. You see that Hoon and Charm are doing their best of trying to keep them out of the pit. The good thing here, I think, for Sentinels is the inhibitor topside is down. They're fighting.
They've got super minions going through. They are going to fight it. Elder Drake going over to Immortals, but it's going to be an immediate disconnect from the fight. You see the pings coming out here from Immortals. We need to go clean up little bit of this jungle, maybe throw some vision down, but they are immediately just going to start this one out. You've still got 37 seconds on Sheesh. If the jungle is down and you have this much power, you're this late in the game with this many items, go for it.
Oh, no.
Ooh, it was a good attempt. Rest throwing out the ultimate, but this might spell the end of the game for Immortals unless Sentinels can find some more pressure in these side lanes.
Oh, man. I see okay, all I know is as soon as I see Mega Inferno Bomb come down, and especially with Leandri's tick on Ziggs, I'm just waiting until that pop-up comes up and tells me who's got the Baron. Because it's at that point, it's a coin flip. It's under 1,000 HP. You just have to wait and see who's able to get it. But a Baron, the Elder Infernal, the only Drake that Immortals are able to get, and probably the most important one if we see them find this win. That inhibitor going down in the Baron lane could actually spell a win condition for Sentinels to get back into this game. Jolly, we're 24.5 minutes. Woo! Everybody's almost full build. The supports right now are going to start to pick up luxury items to try and help out with their damage. And it may be a simple cash out onto one of the members from Sentinels ended up kind of just giving the game back over to Immortals. They're letting Goom now split push. And you see from the side of Sentinels, they are holding hands, kumbaya, trying to just stay in this game just a little bit longer.
That's going to be tough, though. I mean, we talked about Sentinels might be able to get some split lane priority. They have the inhibitor down on the Baron side, but now with Goom having split push that, the culling comes out, trying to take down Sheesh. Sheesh will barely... will end up going down, so the GA will be proc. No more Guardian Angel for Sheesh. A beautiful culling right there from Goom. Got to compliment that one. Baron minions on the bottom side. It's going to be unstoppable. Ragnarok coming out. A tidal wave. You can be exhausted with Ragnarok, but it's not going to do much. In goes the rest of the team. Goom gets popped up. Flashes in. Beautifully done. And Immortals. It was so well fought from Sentinels, but they end up getting shut down in just 2 games. The story of sweeps still continues.
Wow. I don't even consider that a sweep. That was basically 2 games in 1. The first half, it feels like I was watching 2 different scenes from a movie, where the first half is Sentinels basically having Immortals coming back, and Immortals keeping control of the early game, but having really close fights in between, and it started to slowly slide into Immortals. And the second half of the movie is Sentinels eking out wins time and time again. MTS is 7-0-2.
Look at that.
And still lost the game. If there's ever been a harder carry performance from the Baron lane, I don't know what. He literally has all of the other like medals that you can get in the game.
Every single medal.
All on MTS. Has done the most damage, has had the most kills, has done the most amount of damage. I mean, just has the most gold on his team as well. MTS, just like, I want to give you a medal because you deserve to win that game. That should be a Sentinels victory, but some of the members on Sentinels ended up getting caught out. Have to put a little bit of blame on Rest and Beg. They got caught out in the later stages of that game and ended up, we see it right here. The game is even. It's 3,500 gold for each team at their peak for most of it. And they just get choked out after that Elder, after finding that kill onto Rest, get the Elder, get the Baron. It's too much. They can't hold out against it.
Wow, absolutely turns into too much. You can see right there how quickly it was, where that Elder and the Baron went down, and then that massive spike from like 4 or 5k to 11k almost. And so all it takes when it gets this late in the game, all it takes is something like that. I was expecting us to...
I thought we were getting Charmer in
I
here.
thought we were getting Charmer with us. Oh, okay. We gotta get Charmer in here. We gotta break that down, because that was an absolutely insane game.
Oh, yeah. Game 2, I was actually just tweeting right before it ended. Naturally, I jinxed it. That it was, in my opinion, the best game of the entire second major so far. Very close, lots of back and forth. You could really feel that Sentinels was trying to claw their way back into the tournament. For me, it really felt like things started to turn for Immortals when they caught 3 there kind of near the end. You mentioned it, right? It was Bags, Rest. They kind of caught them out. They used that to get some momentum back from Sentinels, who I felt had the moment up until that point and then rested away. Game 1 was not as close. There was a point where they were trying to ambush Iraqi Zoro kind of like in the river. And not only did they not get Iraqi Zoro, he actually got away with like a sliver of health, but they lost a number of members in the process there as well. And so I think that Sentinels showed a lot of promise. Obviously MTS, as you have both mentioned, insane performance in that game. And we had talked about how all of the Sentinels players are capable of doing that, but they just can't seem to do it all at the same time or get that rhythm at the right time. So I think that maybe this is a team that can grow together, and if they work those kinks out, they could be very formidable. But right now it was just the consistency. Immortals, they just never really gave in. They said, okay, we're behind, but if we stick to our game plan, we know that things will even out. And they ended up being the victor. They are in the top 4. They are moving on, and that also means they've earned some prize money as well.
Guaranteed themselves some prize money, that's for sure. And that feels good. You know, that's hey, still making your way through, especially coming back from a game that, you know, seemed to be going in Sentinel's favor. I really sincerely thought that we were going to end up going to a game 3. Not only that, you know, you got to commend Sentinels too. I mean, it was Riven, Lee Sin, and Yasuo for those 3 picks. Like that alone, the fact that they did so dang well means, yes, I sincerely hope to see a lot more of this team. And once they find that cohesion, we're looking at a completely different style of play that these guys could bring forward.
Well,
I mean,
unfortunately,
that's the bottom half of our major there. Gone.
Yeah, I was going to say
6 there.
Unfortunately, we don't get to see them for the rest of the events because Immortals is moving on, and so we are going to be taking a short break. I'm sure Immortals will welcome a break after that kind of slugfest, but when we come back, we're going to see Immortals taking on Cloud9, continuing along this lower bracket until we finally get to our grand finals later today. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be taking a short break. More Wild Rift when we come back.